To also give his welcome address on behalf of the City of Tagbilaran, I'd like to give you the City Mayor. Please join me in welcoming Honorable John Jusno Babaya.
Thank you very much, Ms. Annie Londa Saluan. For anything else, allow me to acknowledge our Office of the Civil Defense Administrator, Yusek Ricardo Halad. Let's all give him a big round of applause, please. Our OCD Region 7 Director, Director Olivia Luces. Gato sa masipang pakpak. Driver Senior Representative, Mr. Takahiro Morita and Mr. Hiroyoki Okai of Nagoya Institute of Technology. Gato sa masipang pakpak. Provincial Governor, Governor EDGAR CHATTO, together with the First Lady, Palilihan Mayor Boronza Veloso CHATTO, taga-ano sa masipang pakpak. Vice Governor Dionisio Balite, taga-anyapon ko sa masipang pakpak. Of course, our provincial board members, Provincial Administrator Ada Malerio, fellow mayors, representatives from the national government agencies, Philippine National Police, led by Provincial Director, Police Senior Superintendent Philippine Natividad, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Coast Guard, friends from Rotary Club, quick responders, and DRRM officers, NGOs, to all of us here, good morning. Let me begin by saying that it is such an honor to be here to welcome all of you to the Bohol Resiliency Congress. I have to say that there is no doubt that we all feel a deep sense of commitment and interest in this important activity. For many of us who have experienced firsthand the 7.2 magnitude earthquake in 2013 and its subsequent impact, there is no doubt that the experience has allowed us to learn that many aspects of disaster management, rehabilitation works, and disaster preparedness. The activity we are having today is in effect a timely answer to this looming and valid challenge. We are attending this event not because of mere compliance, but we do it on purpose, especially, as I have said, we are answering a big challenge of accounting for the rehabilitation works and at the same time being prepared for future disasters. We could not do away with natural disasters because we live in the ring of fire where earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis can happen at any given day. We are also located in the Pacific where typhoons and tidal surges are becoming more frequent and stronger because of climate change. I believe that the only way to reduce casualties and damage to property is to make disaster preparedness everybody's business. And as someone speaking with experience, being disaster resilient has many important aspects. It means careful preparation and planning, and it calls for people to be equipped with the right information. It means doing preventive action and laying the ground for reactive response, and it requires setting up the right facilities and using the right technology. It also means raising environmental and disaster consciousness on all levels of society. And lastly, it also refers to building communities and structures with disaster risk management and climate change in mind. I am happy that what we have today is a wonderful opportunity for us to take a step further in our quest to become disaster resilient. We all look forward to sharing the experiences of lessons and the best practices. Let me thus say that I commend this Congress because it is building a network of cooperation where there is sharing of vast expertise, knowledge, and lessons on disaster resiliency. On that note, let me once again warmly welcome everyone to this event. I hope you will make the most of this gathering as a wonderful opportunity for reinforcing our learnings and fortifying our level of disaster preparedness. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and advance happy birthday for tomorrow. Okay, at this juncture, let us hear before a commemorative message in time with this Bohol Resiliency Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give you the ever-forceful, development-driven father of the province. I'd like to give you the Honorable Governor, Attorney EDGAR M. CHATTO.
Dagan kayong salamat, ang salawan. Sa dili pa na kumusugod, unahon na itong pakpak si Mayor Babaya kay birthday niya uma. Pero dili siya dili mo celebrate sa birthday. Happy birthday, Mayor Babaya. Tagas masipang pakpak ang atong mayor. Maayong buntag sa tanan. Welcome to our Bohol Resiliency Congress on the occasion of the commemoration of the 3rd anniversary of that 7.2 magnitude earthquake nga mihigo sa atong probinsya sa Bohol. And we are very happy today because we are honored with the presence of our National Executive Director of the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, of the Office of the President, no less than our Boholano, fellow full-blooded Boholano, Secretary Ricardo Hala, tagasmasipang papa, General Hala. And we would like to thank him for taking time out of his busy schedule nga ni-aydod siya sa ato. So, pwede na tag magbinisaya. Pero ni amay mga hapon, mag-in-English po tag usahay. No? Let me also acknowledge and of course thank the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of the province of Bohol, o niya uban nato ang atong Vice Governor, Junicio Juning Balite, taganas masipang papa, and all the members of the provincial board who are here with us today. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the OCD nato, no? So Office of Civil Defense, nga kuyog sa ato sa nga director sa NDCC, and ni si Director Olivia Luces. Taganatos masipang papa and the members of her team who have been with us from day one after that tragedy in the province of Bohol. And let me also inform everybody that since yesterday, nag-abot-abot din sa ato on different time intervals ang nagkalain-lain nga international representatives representing their embassies or their international aid organizations. Over lunchtime, ang breakfast pa niya din si Senator Cynthia Villar. O niya, about lunchtime, may abot sa dako officials in the United States Embassy and the resident representative of the USAID din sa atong lalawigan. And then, at about 3 o'clock, may abot sa ang Deputy Chief of Mission sa Australian Embassy. All of them assuring Bohol of our continued partnerships. And this morning, we are very lucky, and since last night, we were talking with our top officials of the Japan International Cooperation Agency. Tagana ko masipang papa, tagahiro mo ni Tasan. And of course, the president of the National University in Japan, Hirohiko Ukai. Let's give a big hand. Ika-agaw ni Tami Abapo nga Ukay-Ukay, si Tami Abapo. So you have a relative here, Ukay-Ukay, board member. Our city officials, our town mayors, our provincial government, heads of offices led by the provincial administrator, Ada Valerio, and the other functionaries of both the city and the province. O kapil na yun og labaw sa tanan ang national government agencies, pagpaka na to ang heads of offices of the different national government agencies. Apil na ang atong kapulisan, ang atong army, ang atong mga tinugyanan sa DepEd, mga officials, ang atong non-government organizations, o ang atong mga estudyante o uban pa volunteers and international and local humanitarian agencies, no? Habitat, IOM, all the other groups. Pagpaka na to silang tanan, we cannot name all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, ako usbon, maayong buntag sa tanan. Today, and in our commemoration activity, we have adopted the theme, the Boholano Spirit Towards Rehabilitation, Recovery, and Resiliency in the midst of climate change. We commemorate today, as I have said, the 3rd anniversary of that earthquake which happened in October 15, 2013, 3 weeks before the huge devastation of Yolanda, which also happened in November 8. But you may notice that in our theme of this year's commemoration, we use the word resiliency. And that is because in keeping with our constant advocacy of Padayon, Bohol, Padayon, Bulanon, we are determined to rise above the challenges of the devastation, the challenges of the earthquake, the challenges of the typhoon, the challenges of the rising waters of Typhoon Sinyang, which hit Bohol also the year after. Whatever may be the challenge, we as a people stood united with strong faith in God that we will survive this crisis and stand back on our feet and claim the victories that we already won before the earthquake and the devastation. There are mga tao na wani sa Bohol, and I think all of you and many of you would notice, and they would say that they have noticed the fast recovery of the province. They would notice that the devastation in the faces of people have changed into laughters, the same spirit of optimism that is seen in the eyes and in the faces, if not in the hearts of our fellow Boholanos. The details, the figures, the graphs, the testimonies will be featured in the audiovisual presentations that will follow after my speech and after my talk. Because we would like to capture the reports of the different agencies, the different groups and organizations who have helped each other in rebuilding Bohol into what it is today, and will continue to rebuild Bohol in the days and in the years to come. Our recovery effort is not yet over. Definitely, the journey will be long. The road may be difficult, but we know too where we are strong, and we must find out where we are weak. So today, we will assess things out as far as our achievements vis-a-vis our goals and targets, and look at where we need to put more effort so that we can bring back Bohol into what we would like to see. Build back Bohol better. Of course, we acknowledge as well that every process is still ongoing in our recovery efforts, and that the challenges will be continuing over time. But as long as we are optimistic, and we remain to be optimistic as a people who have strong faith in God and a strong faith in ourselves collectively as a people, then our general perception, our general hope is that we will be seeing a more progressive Bohol in the years to come. And this will be supported by statistics coming from the agencies that are tasked to monitor every effort, every program, every project along the way. For example, of these statistics, food sufficiency of basic commodities in the province of Bohol, and we would like to report this to the Good Secretary, the Undersecretary, remains high despite the challenges of our agriculture sector, such as the various calamities that I have mentioned, and most recently, the El Nino phenomenon. Rice production in Bohol remained at a high sufficiency level of 106% based on the data from the Office of the Provincial Agriculturist and the Bureau of Agricultural Statistics. There is also an increase in production and yield per hectare of major food commodities in our province. Bohol continues to supply rice, not only in Bohol, some of it goes outside of the province. Our tourist arrivals continue to grow, and this is the more vivid showcase of how tourism has recovered in the province. The number of tourists who visited the province in the first quarter of 2016 grew by 10.6% from the same period last year. Even more impressive, based on the statistics gleaned by the Department of Tourism and the Bohol Tourism Office, more than 602,000 tourists visited our province in 2015. This is far greater than our pre-earthquake levels. We continue to take in new investments in the form of new hotels, new resorts and malls, with over 6 billion capital from these huge investments over the period of 2013 to 2015. This positive investment climate, it is not just true to the large investments, even in the micro, small, and medium enterprises, we have reached 5.7 billion in new investments in the last 5 years. And on top of that, an additional 8 billion has also been poured in the province from investments in agribusiness by the private sector. In the construction industry, for the first quarter of 2016, Bohol registered the highest increase of 154% in the number of new projects constructed. Among these projects in the province and in the region, of course, among the provinces rather, as recorded by the National Economic Development Authority. No doubt, our rehabilitation and reconstruction, post-earthquake, funds from the national government, funds from donor agencies help in achieving these impressive figures. And despite all this economic activity, Bohol remains the lowest average inflation rate among the provinces in Central Visayas, as reported by the National Economic Development Authority. Arguably, the most significant indicator, of course, of Bohol's success is our continued to be not part anymore of the 20 poorest provinces. However, with all these, we know that we have not yet fully recovered. In the infrastructure side, we still have to look into gaps. We still have to look into the different department projects that remains to be completed. And today, the figures will show us how much more effort we need to exert. Despite the obstacles, however, posed by the earthquake and Yolanda, the various other calamities that happened, we are also happy to take note the poverty incidence of the province is continuously dropping. From the year 2000, where we had a record of 50.2%, in 2012, NECB reported 30.6%, and in the first quarter of 2015, National Economic Development Authority has released a figure of 24.7%. This is far the lowest in the figures of the poverty indices that are released either by NSCB or NEDA Region 7. But based on this data, this is coming from the Family Income and Expenditure Surveys, we know that poverty still remains in many areas of the province. And therefore, there is much work to be done. Some shelters have not yet been completed, and there are reasons coming from the implementing agencies. What is unique in the province of Bohol is that the provincial government and the municipal government are supporting efforts of the national agencies and the non-government organizations and international funding agencies in a common agenda to stimulate and facilitate the implementation of programs and projects. But if there are areas that we still miss and we have missed to do, it is easy to pinpoint responsibility because all the programs and projects coming to Bohol are shared in different departments. The provincial government only handles the local infrastructures and passed on to the different municipalities called the Bohol Earthquake Assistance Projects. But all the other rehabilitation works, national government agencies like DPWH for national roads, school buildings, and agriculture is also through the Department of Agriculture, irrigation also by the irrigation implementing agencies, and the other agencies cooperating in the full recovery. And with each one taking our respective roles, the showcase of exhibits that you see around are their actual reports of what have been accomplished. Today, in our assessment and workshop, we will see on the ground what we need to do more so that resiliency will indeed be a name, not only a word.